So yesterday we got this thing to actually fire up and idle for a good while, and it sounded like it was running pretty good, but we did have a little bit of hopefully just a lifter tick going on. In hindsight, I probably could have started with a fresh oil change, just a cheap oil change while we were getting things started. Would have been cheap insurance, but here we are. So today what I want to do is we're going to do a quick oil change, just some cheap oil with a flush, run it through for 5 or 10 minutes. I don't want to run it for too long since we don't have a cooling system hooked up, but hopefully any contaminants or anything from this old oil that's been in the engine for God knows how long, we can get that flushed out. And then we're going to do actual oil change with the good stuff. I've got the VR1 1030, which seems like a lot of guys are running on these old V8s. It's a little chilly, a little windy out here today, but we're gonna get this oil change going, this flush going, and see if we can't get this engine sounding a little bit healthier after a flush. So, it does have oil, but man, it is, I don't know if it'll focus on that, but it is good and dark. So we're definitely gonna do this flush. Hopefully that'll help things out. I could take the valve covers off just to see that the oil pump is actually getting fluid up there. But I mean, even though this thing sat for a while, these oil pumps, I don't think it's gonna have that much of an issue. So for the first oil change in the flush, I'm gonna try this flush. Just got frame filter, pretty much the cheapest 1030 I could possibly find. We'll see if that helps clear up that noise a little bit. I've already got the filter broke loose, so let's see how this guy looks. It looks like I've got my catch pin lined up, which is always a plus. I'd say that's pretty rare. Spend most of the time getting the driveway dirty, probably. And that oil is dark, very dark, so probably not a bad idea. Not too much of a mess. Take that as a win. As always, the parts bench, work table, workbench, Camry. Got to get one if you don't have it. So, slap our new filter on. The oil that's coming out of the car is pretty gross. Normally I just grab a little oil off of the old filter or something, but I'm just gonna use a little fresh oil for this filter gasket O-ring, and yeah, avoid using the nasty stuff that came off of this thing. So, slap this bad boy on. Don't double gasket your oil filters, kids. And don't drop the new one on the ground. You know, that's just how things go. Would you look at that? I got the right filter. Wonderful. Hang tight, kids. And that goes for everybody. Jesus, if you've ever worked on cars at a shop of any kind, I'd say like 99.9% of the filters are just ridiculously over tightened for absolutely zero reason. Alright, we'll see how this goes one-handed. I already broke it loose, so check it out. We'll forget. Interested to see what comes out of this thing. Cross your fingers. Oh yeah, that is some thick gunky gunk. I don't think just sitting is gonna make that oil come out that dark. I'm gonna say this thing probably got a little neglected before it was parked. Maybe slightly. See, hopefully that holds 5 quarts. We were a little low. I think we had maybe 4 quarts in it. So I think we'll be good. We're gonna make a huge mess with all the wind out here, I'm sure. Speaking of the wind, sorry if the audio was terribly windy. I'm sure it is. I'm not too worried about sitting here and waiting for it to drain every single last little drop. Just let it get to a good stream. Just throw the plug back in it. To me, that doesn't look like, I guess it's probably close to 4 quarts. Final test. Getting the threads to start back in this old ass oil pan. I'm surprised at the lack of leaks on this old engine. I mean, really, it's pretty dry. I was pretty surprised once I jumped under here, and honestly, I mean, the whole underneath of the vehicle, the whole car, there's little to no rust other than surface rust. I mean, honestly, it's been a surprise. All right, it'll look more like grease than oil. Don't know how entertaining watching me do an oil change on the ground is, but hey, I'm sure somebody will watch it. Just gonna snug this guy up, use the old wrist torque wrench. That's all she needs. Alright, so this old 289 holds exactly 5 quarts, but on the instructions for this it says to make sure your oil is full, so we're just gonna dump this whole thing in. We'll add our 5 quarts of oil. Let's see what happens. Got the drain plug back in, we got the filter tight. Never used this. I've used the Valvoline top treat a lot at my job. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We'll see how this goes for us. Can't wait to have a garage back again. We recently moved, so the new house does not have a garage, which is the bane of my existence at the moment. I'm trying to build a car, but we'll make it work. Assume this is going to be a slow pour, especially one-handed. Set this guy down for just a second. Use both my hands and get this oil in here. It'll probably go a lot faster. All right, we've got fresh oil in. We're going to try and turn this thing over and see what happens. I've got my trusty gas tank kind of on the floor, on the ground right now. Don't know if it's going to suck as well, so I might have to put that back up on the fender, but we're gonna give this a shot and see what happens. Yeah, let's go for it. Okay, go for it. sound a lot quieter as far as that lifter tick I think we were getting yesterday goes, which already makes me feel a little better. It is still definitely making a little bit of a click, a little tap. All right, go ahead. We're gonna see. All right, I'm gonna see if I can't get this thing to idle for a few minutes, stay running long enough to run that cleaner through it, and then we'll get that good oil in it and see what happens. All right, so we let it idle for maybe 5 minutes, long enough to warm up a little bit. It seems like each of the exhaust, each part of the manifold is warming up pretty good, so I think we're firing on all 8 cylinders. I feel like it's probably coming from this side of the engine. If it really is a rod knock and it's that loud, well, there's not much we're going to be able to do about that. But I'm going to go ahead and change the oil to this VR1. Might be a waste of time. Eventually what I'm probably going to have to do is get some valve cover gaskets, pull the valve covers off, actually take a look at how things are moving around. All right, so an update on the oil change. So the first drain, there was some sludge, there was some deposits, but I did not see any metal shavings, particles, chunks. So I'm gonna say that's probably good news. About to do the second drain real fast, see what comes out with our flush. And then we will change the filter. We've got another Fram filter to put on it. We'll put the VR1 in. At least we'll know we'll have some decent oil in this. And we'll go from there. Alright, so we got the fresh VR1 in. It does sound like it's quieted up just a little bit. Definitely still want to get that valve cover off, I think. But I think it has quieted down just a hair. I don't know how much the flush actually helps. Sounds okay from the back. The mufflers are completely blown out of this thing. Just smoking just a hair, but it's also pretty cold out here, so. When we first started this thing up, the oil light was on, but it's not on anymore, which I think means they're pretty safe. I really don't want to rev it very much because it's not warm, but the engine sounds pretty healthy to me. I mean, other than that little bit of a lifter tick. God, those mufflers make this thing sound terrible. Supposedly it has a mild cam. Well, we're back on this turd today, and we're gonna tackle taking off the valve covers, maybe looking a little deeper into this engine noise we've got going on. This car hasn't ceased to surprise me yet. So I'm still learning my standard, you know, from eye to size. But I got the right size, and I go to put it on there, and that bolt is loose. So then I check that one, and that one, and that one. Every single bolt on the valve cover on this side, which I believe is the side that's making noise, is loose. Let's walk over here to the driver's side. That's the first time I've touched that bolt. Also loose, every bolt. Wow, okay. Well, at least they could be over tight. I'd rather them be loose than over tight, I guess. Gotta love working on these old cars. All right. So There's only 6 bolts that hold these valve covers on. That wasn't too bad. Alright, let's see. Oh yeah, we've got oil up here. That is a win. Okay. But then again, this is also not the side that was making noise. They don't seem to have a lot of play. I mean, obviously, like this is pretty tight, but it's also in the process of compressing that spring. So, and then you've got this one, which doesn't have any tension because the spring's all the way up. So I'm gonna assume that we're probably doing okay there. And once again, the inside of this is looking to be in pretty good shape visually. That makes me happy. Now, while we have these off, I can't go putting them back on the car looking like this. So we'll get these cleaned up nice and good. All right, it is very dark outside now. After spending probably a lot longer than needed, I've got these things looking really nice. I'm happy. And this has kind of turned into an analogy for my plans for this car. They look really good. Are they perfect? No. But with a little bit of elbow grease and some time, I got them to look pretty good. And that's pretty much my plans for the entire car. I don't have the skills to make it perfect, but I am stubborn enough to sit here and do what I gotta do to make it better. So I'm happy with the way they turned out. It is dark and I'm going inside. Now that we've got the heater core lines out of the way, we've actually got a pretty good view at the top of the engine, other than our terribly messy spark plug wires, which I'll come up with some way to clean those up since they look terrible. But that means I think we can finally fire this thing up, or at least turn it over and get a look at how everything's moving around. But to be honest, I think I'm just gonna let it run. I'd like to watch and listen while this thing's running and see how everything looks with the valve covers off. So kind of just got everything out of the way that I would have to worry about ending up getting pinched or anything. I think we're in a good spot. So we should be ready to fire this thing up and get a better look at how everything's running under here. I mean, I don't know, after all these years, maybe these need to be adjusted, the rockers. I don't know. Everything seems pretty tight. So let's just fire it up and see what happens. All right, I'm gonna get this thing to idle, get you guys back over here to watch it run. All right, we finally got this thing idling. And listening to it, I really do think it is a valve train. Everything looks to be good. So after doing a little bit of research, I think the valves definitely need a little bit of adjusting. So we're gonna have to find top dead center for cylinder 1, adjust it, and then go through the firing order, adjusting the valves. You can tell there's quite a bit of play here, and there shouldn't be any play at all. Now I haven't even found top dead center yet, but we're gonna start with that. We'll find top dead center and just start going one by one through these. Maybe that'll take care of our noise, and that would make me very happy. So the valves are closed and the piston's coming back up, which means once it reaches the top, we should be at top dead center on the compression stroke because the valves are closed. So here comes, we're gonna watch our extension here. Feels so wrong, shoving something inside of the cylinder. I'm gonna kind of hold it in place. Let's see. I don't want to miss the very top of the compression stroke. I think we're there. We'll turn it just a hair. We'll see if that comes out anymore. Okay, we're still coming out. Still moving out. The moment that it stops, you're at top dead center. Still moving out. That's it right there. So, in theory, both the valves should be closed, which means both of these, if they need adjustment, should have slack. So let's see. Oh yeah. Not as bad, but you really don't want any slack here. Now we know we're at top dead center on the compression stroke. The valves are open, and now we can adjust the rockers. And then we'll follow the firing order around the engine. So each time now that we turn the crank 90 degrees, it'll be time to do the next cylinder in line. So 1, 5 should be next. So we'll adjust here, and then we'll move on to 5. All right, so now it's time to adjust the valves. Pretty much what you want to do, we definitely have some play here. According to YouTube Academy, you want to adjust until you have no play and then turn it another 1/4 of an inch. So let's see, very little. Doesn't seem like it takes very much to adjust these. Right there, there's no play. So according to the YouTube Academy, you now want to turn it 3/4 turns. So let's attempt to do that. There's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4 turns. Now we'll do the same on this side. Loosening it to get a baseline because I think I might have over tightened it at first. It's got a little play there. On today's video, I completely destroy my engine because I don't know what I'm doing. We're learning together. we definitely got play now. Sometimes you gotta go backwards to go forwards. All right, we have 0 play there. Now we're gonna do our 3/4 turns. There's 1, 2, 3. All right, so that one's still, the rocker feels a little loose, but the push rod is solid. And I really think that's kind of what you're going off of, is the push rod. So now, in theory, we should turn the crank 90 degrees, and the next cylinder should be at top dead center. I think the valves are already pretty much closed, and that's got a lot of play there. All right, I'm gonna go through the whole engine, cut to when I'm finished, and we'll fire it up and see if there's any noise difference in the top end of this engine. So we successfully went around and adjusted each of the rockers in each cylinder, and now none of the rockers have any play when the cylinder is at top dead center. So hopefully that means when we kick this thing off, we hear a lot less chattering up top. And I don't know yet until we start it if this means anything, but the cylinders that had the most adjustment that needed to be done were cylinder 1 and cylinder 3 on the side of the engine that I feel like the noise has been coming from. So no idea, I haven't started it yet. Let's turn this thing over and just see what happens. Cross your fingers. We've rotated the engine by hand several times, so I know everything's still running relatively smoothly. So let's jump in here, give this thing a shot, and see how it sounds. See if we've magically solved our issue. Yeah, check my brakes out. Ooh, yeah. Oh man. That sounds way better. I think we have officially fixed the ticking noise. We've got oil flowing to all the rocker arms, and it is running the best it's ran the entire time we've been working on this car. It kicked right over. This is great. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it off because I don't want to get oil all over the place. This is great news. All right, so we know we're getting oil to the top of the cylinders. We've got the valves adjusted. It's running really good. Oil's flowing great. I think we've just about got the engine dialed in. Now, the next step is going to be tackling this disgusting, terrible, horrific cooling system and the brakes. That's pretty much it for today. I've got several videos ready to be edited and put out, one of which is on the brake system, which we've got some pretty big updates there. Definitely gonna wanna watch that. I'm gonna button up putting the valve covers and everything back together on the top end of this engine. and I think we are pretty sorted here. I am extremely happy. Never done a valve adjustment. I think it went great, and yeah, just hearing it run after that, it sounded great. That's the best it's run the whole time. So hey, if you've got an old engine you're trying to restore, watch a quick 5-minute video on YouTube on how to do a valve adjustment and just freaking go for it, because if you're already having issues, what are you going to do, make it worse? So thanks, and I should say you probably could, so take your time, try and do it the right way, don't make it worse, and I'll see you guys next time.